Hello everyone, if you are new to me, hello, my name is Cinzia. I have just started my PhD in classics and I've set up a channel entirely dedicated to discussing academia in general, discussing books like book reviews, anything dorky and bookish, and also my journey as a PhD student. I'm going to be doing this for 6 years as a part-time distance learner in the UK, and I thought it may be useful insight to people who are considering doing a PhD and working full-time. How to structure that, and also just insights into general theories and the philosophies that I cover, the theorists and the texts I cover. And I just thought it would just be a really funky place to discuss really bookish, dorky stuff with anyone who's interested, because this is definitely my field. So I thought I should give like a wee brief recap if you're just discovering me for the first time, and answer any basic questions here. So I'm doing my PhD in classics. I went to university back, it's been a decade since I did my undergraduate, my first Freshers Week, so that was in 2011, and in 2011 I did what is known as a joint honours. In the US you major and minor in subjects, in the UK that's not a thing. Some universities offer like minor courses, but you only major in a course, except for joint honours students where you major in 2 courses. The exact same extent of the programme, but your credits are spread across 50-50 from 2 different departments, but you major in both. So I graduated in English literature and classical literature and civilization. I then went on to move to Edinburgh, where I did my master's in literature and modernity, looking at texts from the 1900s onwards, looking at modernism and postmodernism, and now after a 6-year gap I've returned to the classics department, because that's where my research really, that's always where my strength has been. I've always specialised in looking at the political use of classicism in literature, which is what my thesis focuses on, primarily looking at the texts that were written and produced within the era of Donald Trump, and looking at the social-political relationship between classicism and the politicisation of classicism and the politicisation of women. So that's my field. And so I'll have a lot of things to discuss in the future in the texts that I'll read, and just reading for fun as well. I will be discussing books that I read for fun, and just getting back into the swing of being a student again. It's incredibly exciting. If people who have been on my first channel know that this has been a big thing for me, and it's that, if there are any questions about like funding and all that jazz, I will do separate videos on that. If you have any queries down below or something you'd like me to specifically cover, but I thought I'd give you just a brief, first week thoughts of starting a PhD, because it's huge, particularly when you're not at the university, you're doing it all online by yourself, and you're doing it whilst working full-time. So just a little wee disclaimer for anyone who's in the US or anywhere else that has this system. PhD programs in the UK don't have classes. The majority don't have like classes. It's all independent research. So I know in America they normally have to have credits, you normally have to attend so many classes even as a PhD student. That's not the case in the UK. You can attend classes, but it's not a credit-based system. The process of having a PhD, whilst your endpoint as a PhD student is to produce a thesis which you are marked upon, the end product is not your thesis, the end product is you as a researcher. So there's a lot of focus on you as a researcher and your development as a researcher. So the first week at my Freshers Week has consisted of a lot of training, a lot of very academic skills based training, and that is continuing onto the week. So it's Saturday and I have an hour until I have a 2-hour training session. There have been a lot of training sessions and a lot of forms, administrative tasks. So keep in mind, if you're going to start a PhD, the first week is dedicated usually in the UK to just the structure of everything. It's immense. From ethics analysis to data needs analysis. As a researcher, you have to break down a lot of forms, just little things like that. It's all about getting to grips with the structure of university, how to employ certain skills, how to employ certain programs to make your research more effective and fluent. And also then come into contact with your supervisor, which if you are entirely new and you may have never even met your supervisor before, if you've applied for a funded position, it's all about the introduction and getting to grips with it. I'm very lucky because I've known my supervisor technically over a decade. She taught me when I was an undergraduate all those years ago at the exact same university. So for me, I have already had that connection with one of my supervisors. The other one I haven't met yet. I will be meeting when I go down in person. But I think, I mean, there's a lot of like funny, like little bits and bobs. So, you know, at the moment, my core advice at the beginning of the stage is take lots of notes and digitize them. So at the moment, I've just taken a break from digitizing notes I've written up from my supervisor meeting with all said links, just so I have a digital format. This is my main PhD booklet for year one, but I take more rough notes in this booklet here. And because there's a wealth of information, I've gone in documenting absolutely everything that I've covered in the first week, because it can become overwhelming. And I mean I've documented every web page that I have read fully, and documented all the web pages that I want to read fully, and taking note of everything. Because as a PhD student, you have to take note of what you've done, because also you have to demonstrate that you have accomplished so many things. So documenting everything you do from get-go, I think has already set me off on a solid foot, because I feel already I'm slightly on top of things. She says it's early days, but I know that it showed my supervisor, because when you're a PhD student, it's very lonely, and if you are working full-time and you're also doing it from a distance, and you're doing your PhD part-time, you need to keep track of everything, because it can become exceptionally overwhelming. Even the fact that I'm doing this part-time has become like, technically the wealth of information that has been thrown at me has been incredibly overwhelming, but I've loved every minute of it so far. Like, I am so incredibly excited, so excited that I set up a whole YouTube channel dedicated to it, because it's just, there's so much that I want to discuss and share with people. So as you can see, I'm just currently writing up forms. I have a jam-packed weekend of several things that I have to write up my structure. I have to write up what's known as a data needs analysis form, which is basically my profile as a researcher, looking at where I want to go, where the gaps are in my skills as a researcher, etc. And then I also need to start reading for certain courses. So like I said, you don't have to do any courses as a PhD student in the UK. However, I've opted for several language courses. So I've opted for French, learning French as a researcher. I have a very basic understanding of French, but I've taken a course because there are several papers that I need to read that I know I will benefit from if I can read in French, and also potentially core text, particularly when it comes to French theorists. The second thing I've taken up is learning ancient Greek. I'm solid with my Latin, but my ancient Greek is very, very, very rough. So I've opted for a course to learn ancient Greek again. It isn't an essential part of my PhD program. It's just purely to benefit. If there's a potential that I have to come across ancient Greek text, I would rather be able to read it or in some kind of rough translation. It's not, you know, imperative to my research. It's not imperative to my thesis. It's not something I'd be focusing on. It's just a skill that may be useful to have, particularly going forward into the classics world. I will do a separate video on why I'm doing a PhD and why I think, you know, despite not having any future in academia. But this is just a brief little wee introductory video to just give an insight into what the first week is like as a PhD student, and to basically say hi. And I will be doing study with me's on here, book discussions on here, and just general academic discussions. If I find something interesting that I think would be useful for people to know, like, or a difficult philosophical topic, or something that people get tripped up on. So one of my favourite videos I've ever done was the difference between modernism and postmodernism. I loved explaining that difference to people, and I'm glad that that benefited people over the years. If I can do more things like that, I will gladly do it. So if there are theories or concepts that people want breaking down, I will happily do that, because that's what I enjoy doing the most. It's not algorithmically beneficial as a YouTube channel to focus on things like that, but I find personal fulfillment in that, and that's why I set up a second channel for that, because my patrons have given me that confidence and also financial support to be able to do this. So thank you again to my patrons. You know how much this means to me, but I wouldn't be doing this were it not for you. This is just a wee video. I just thought it'd be nice to discuss what week one is like. If you have any questions about other videos, I will be breaking down a lot of topics. just general thoughts on the PhD process as a whole, and sharing, you know, sights of the campus when I finally go down later this year. So I hope you look forward to that. And thank you for watching this video. thank you also for subscribing if you have. I'll be posting more regular vlogs and discussions on here, so it'll be more like stream of consciousness discussions on here and less like highly edited. It's just more for, I think, personal documentation, and it's something that I'm going to genuinely enjoy documenting and sharing with people, because I know I enjoy watching these videos of other people going into academia. So thank you very much for watching, thank you very much for subscribing, and I will see you soon for another video. If you have any questions or things that you'd like me to cover in a whole video, let me know down below, and I will speak to you soon. And remember, books save lives, so keep reading.